My mom said it like she was reading a grocery list. Your sister's family comes first. You're always last. My dad nodded as if it were obvious. My sister took a slow sip of wine and tried not to smile. I didn't argue. I put my fork down and said, "Good to know." If this hits a nerve, tap like, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from. Have you ever realized you were last in your own family? I'm Mia, and I grew up learning my rank without anyone posting rules on the fridge. In our Denver house, the attention always flowed one direction, toward my sister. Her plans set the calendar. Her problems rewrote the day. Mine? I was independent, code for don't ask for more. Grocery store cakes for me, custom orders for her. Family trips skipped because you should save for school. Graduation photos where I held everyone's jackets and stayed out of frame. I didn't feel unloved. I felt rationed. That night at dinner, hearing it out loud didn't break my heart. It cut the rope I'd been using to keep the peace. The room kept eating. Conversation moved on. No one noticed the line that had just been crossed except me. I smiled, cleared my plate, and decided quietly that the next time they reached for me like a built-in safety net, the answer they expected wasn't the one they were going to get. The next few days looked normal from the outside. Group chat memes, photos of my nephews, a recipe link from Mom, but the asks slipped in like they always did. Any chance you can swing by Saturday? Sitter bailed. Tiny problem. My card declined at the pharmacy. Can you spot it? I'll Venmo later. I watched the bubbles appear, then flipped my phone face down and finished my coffee. 10 minutes passed. 15. Nothing caught fire. No police. No meltdown. Just a second text. You okay? You're quiet. Followed by a third. Your sister is under a lot of pressure. I typed, I'm tied up today, and left it there. Once the silence didn't kill anyone, I started moving pieces. I split my checking into 3 buckets: rent, daily, untouchable, and set the last one to view me only. I turned off 2 family auto pays I didn't remember agreeing to. I removed my card from a shared account with a polite note. Please update payment. I cleaned up my calendar too. Blocked Thursday nights for myself, no just-in-case buffer for last-minute rescues. When my sister texted, "Can you float the water bill till Friday?" I wrote back, "I can't," and did not explain. The word sat there looking small on the screen, but it felt like a brick in my hand. Mom called that evening with her soft, urgent voice. Is something wrong? You seem distant. I kept my tone even. I've got a lot on my plate. She waited, expecting the familiar pivot to her update. When it didn't come, she filled the silence. Your sister's juggling so much right now. I said, I know, and let the sentence end. We both heard what I didn't add. Knowing isn't the same as fixing. It was strange the way space showed up where guilt used to live. I went for a run without checking my phone. I bought groceries without calculating who might need me first. I slept through a night that didn't crack open at 1 a.m. with a quick question. The world kept spinning. The only thing that changed was the story I'd agreed to. On Friday afternoon, as I wrapped a Zoom and reached for my water bottle, my phone lit up with Mom's name again. Her voice had that tight edge I knew too well. We need to talk. Can you come by this weekend? No details, no numbers. Just urgency. I stared at the wall a long second and felt the old reflex twitch, the one that picks up a fire extinguisher before it sees smoke. Then I said, I can come by, and hung up. If they were going to test my new line, I wanted to see exactly how. I showed up Saturday at 2:18 p.m., and the house felt heavier than I remembered. The coffee table was buried in envelopes. Past due, final reminder, a couple of notice to cure letters with dates circled in red. My sister sat stiff on the couch, arms folded. Her husband hovered in the doorway. Dad wouldn't look at me. Mom started talking fast before I'd even taken off my coat. A temporary setback, a business hiccup, payments just delayed. She used the word temporary 3 times like it might change the numbers on the page. I sat, folded my hands, and asked the first question no one wanted. How much? They traded looks until my sister said it. 14.8 by Friday. Then Dad cleared his throat and delivered the logic I knew by heart. You're stable. No kids. You can carry this better than anyone. My sister exhaled like a solution had walked in wearing my shoes. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I asked, "What's the plan if I don't?" The room went blank, like I'd switched to a language they didn't speak. Mom blinked. Dad frowned. My sister's mouth opened and nothing came out. Not helping had never been one of their options. "I need the full picture," I said calmly. "Statements, contracts, every recurring cost, what gets cut first." Dad tried a warmer pitch. "We just need you to bridge us. We'll figure out the rest." I nodded once. "What changes so this doesn't happen again?" That landed wrong. Mom's voice thinned. "Mia, this isn't the time to interrogate us." "Then it's not the time for me to write a check," I said, still even. I gathered the envelopes into neat stacks, utilities, vendor balances, 2 credit lines with balances in the 5 figures, and slid them back. "I need time to understand everything." They all relaxed at that word, mistaking it for the old me. Mom clasped my hand. "Thank you. We knew you'd come through." I drove to my childhood room, stared at the ceiling fan that still wobbled on low, and felt a new kind of steady click into place. On Monday, at 8:03 a.m., I booked my therapist. At 8:17, I booked a legal consult. If I stepped in, it wouldn't be as the family cushion. It would be on terms that didn't set me on fire to keep everyone else warm. I came back the next weekend at 10:11 a.m. with a slim folder instead of a blank check. I set it on the table and told them calm as a clerk, "If I help, it's a loan, not a donation." Dad opened to page 1. It was simple. Amount capped at $10,000, 0% if paid back in 12 months, 3% after, monthly schedule printed right there. Page 2 listed what happens first. Sell the extra car before any money moves, cancel non-essentials, no new credit without proof you can carry it. Page 3 was the guardrail I needed most. My name and credit never used as backup, no co-signing, no temporary card on file. Page 4 asked for receipts and a weekly tracker. Page 5 required 3 sessions of family counseling, not as a punishment, as a reset. Mom's eyes watered. "You don't trust us." I kept my voice even. "I trust math and patterns. When you want comfort, I'm your daughter. When you want cash, I'm a bank. Pick which one you need me to be." My sister stared at the numbers like they were written in ink that could burn. "Why conditions?" "Because the last time had none," I said. Dad pushed the folder away. "This is cold." I shook my head. "What's been cold is expecting me to absorb the cost because I'm stable. This keeps me whole and helps you change." I slid a pen across the wood. "You have 24 hours. Sign and we move, or don't and we won't. Either is an answer." Mom whispered, "If we say no." "Do you walk?" My hand stayed on the folder. "I'm not walking from you. I'm walking toward a life where I'm not the plan B for everybody else." Then I left the pages on the table, date and time stamped at the bottom, DocuSign available, notary if you prefer, and told them I'd be back tomorrow at 10:12. At 10:12 the next morning I rang the bell. Mom opened the door with puffy eyes and a manila envelope. "We signed last night," she said, almost whispering. My phone had buzzed at 9:47 p.m. with the DocuSign completed notice. The PDF showed 3 signatures and a timestamp. Dad tried one more small edit. "Can we drop the counseling clause?" And I shook my head. "That's the only part I won't fund without." He nodded, and that was the closest thing to a thank you I got. I didn't hand over cash. I logged into the utility portal on my laptop and paid the past due balance directly, $286.41, then set a one-time payment for the smallest vendor invoice. The extra car went on a consignment lot that afternoon. I took a photo of the listing with the date in the corner. At 3:10 p.m., my sister texted a screenshot of 3 canceled subscriptions and wrote, "Done. No emojis." By Thursday at 4 o'clock, they sat on a gray sofa under a wall clock while a therapist with a legal pad said, "Let's start with rolls." And no one looked at me to explain anything. The first weekly tracker hit my inbox Sunday night. Grocery, gas, copay, nothing hidden, and the number at the bottom matched the plan. It wasn't warm, it wasn't dramatic, it was math. The asks didn't vanish, they changed shape. Mom's call on Tuesday was, "How are you?" Not "can you?" My brother-in-law, finally at the table instead of the doorway, messaged a photo of a sold sign on the car and a short, "We did it." I slept through 2 nights in a row without my phone lighting up at 1 a.m. with "quick question," and woke up to quiet that felt earned, not borrowed. I stayed exactly what I said I'd be: family when they wanted comfort, a bank when they wanted money, and I kept the border between those jobs in black and white. By spring, the numbers told the story better than any speech. Month 3, balance, $7,940. Month 6, $3,210. Month 11, paid in full. My banking app showed 0.00 next to family loan at 9:28 a.m. on a Tuesday. Mom texted a photo of their final tracker with 3 words she'd never used with me before. "We did it. No confetti, just steady." Therapy stuck too. Thursdays at 4 o'clock became a thing they planned around instead of around me. My sister's messages got shorter and cleaner. Photos of the kids, a recipe that actually worked, no hidden BTW. Dad called one night and said, "Thank you for the structure," which is not poetic, but it's the truest sentence he's ever given me. The next holiday was small, no chandelier, no ranking. Mom didn't say, "Be peaceful." She asked, "What time works for you?" We ate, we passed plates, and when the table got quiet, it wasn't because I was fixing anything, it was just quiet. My life changed in smaller, louder ways. I kept my Thursday nights. I saved for a trip and took it without checking my phone every hour. I stopped rehearsing 10 different rescues in my head on the walk from my car to my door. The weight I'd carried so long I forgot it was there, finally set down somewhere that wasn't me. I didn't become hard. I became clear. Family still means soup when someone's sick and showing up when it matters. It doesn't mean being the emergency fund, the planner, and the apology all at once. When they want comfort, I'm their daughter. When they want money, I'm a bank, with terms. And when anyone forgets, I point to the line in black and white. I don't sign for storms I didn't make. If you're sitting where I was, last by default, here's the quiet move that changed everything. I stopped waiting to be chosen and chose myself. Boundaries didn't break us. Denial did. Tell me where you're watching from. And if you were in my place, would you put terms on help or walk away? Comment terms or walk. Summer rolled in and the calm didn't feel temporary anymore. It felt like the new operating system. On a warm Saturday, Dad grilled in the backyard and didn't hold court. He handed me a plate and said, "Sit where you like." Mom asked, "Do you need anything?" and waited for the answer. My sister hugged me without the old performative squeeze and didn't follow it with a favor. We were smaller, but we were honest. A week later, I pulled the loan folder from my file box and added a final page. Closed, 0.00 a.m. I moved it from active to archive and slid it in next to travel docs. Not as a trophy, as a reminder. Boundaries aren't barbed wire, they're lane markers. They let everyone drive without crashing into the person who's always swerved hardest. One evening around sunset, I stood on my Seattle balcony and reread the first notes I'd made in my phone after that dinner where Mom said I was last. The entry was short. "Stop being the safety net they didn't pay for." I smiled because it was messy then, and it's simple now. I'm still the same person, the one who shows up. But I don't set myself on fire to warm the room. If you're quietly ranked last, try the smallest version of what I did. Delay your reflex by 10 minutes. Move one auto-pay off your card. Ask, "What's the plan if I don't?" Watch how the world doesn't end. Then build your lane markers one by one until the map makes sense again. Where are you listening from? If this helped you breathe, tap like and subscribe. I've got more boundary stories coming, and the next one might be the nudge you needed.